The Red Raiders have recently shown interest in yet another transfer portal big. Who is it? We'll discuss that as well as give an update on a high priority transfer portal target and much more in today's video. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And listen, if you want more of these transfer portal update videos, please like the video. But we are also just 30 subs away from 5 digits, 10,000. It's already the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube today. But getting to 10K would just be absolutely phenomenal. I thank each and every one of you that watch the videos, interact with them, share them with friends. It truly does mean a lot that you would take some of your time out of your day and busy schedule to listen to me ramble about Texas Tech men's basketball or football. So if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell if you want to stay in the know on each and everything going on when it comes to Texas Tech men's basketball on the hardwood or on the recruiting trail. All right, let's jump into the latest portal contacts for the Red Raiders. And I want to call this guy AAA because if you know anything about me on this channel, I love a good nickname. You know, you got Caleb Payday Douglas for Texas Tech football. Then you've obviously got Fede Squared for Texas Tech basketball. I think you might have AAA here. Atiki Ali Atiki, the BYU transfer. He stands 6'10", 220 pounds. Stats aren't going to wow you, people. They're just not. He averaged 4 points per game, about 3 rebounds per game, and 11 minutes played for BYU and Mark Pope last year out there in Provo. He's an athletic big that would clearly be a depth piece. This is not a guy that would come in and be a starter. It's just not. But I will tell you here in just a second, I wouldn't mind him as an addition, and there's a couple reasons why. First and foremost, ranks in the 70th percentile, which according to Synergy is in the very good, almost elite 75% is elite excellent range. He's in the very good range. So you like that because you know that Grant McCaslin is going to use his bigs in the pick and roll. He's really good in it. He's also a lob threat on the offensive end, and on the defensive end, he's an impact player around the rim, but he struggles when he's outside the paint. Let's just call a spade a spade. He struggles outside of the paint when it comes down to it. That being said, as a depth big, that would most likely back up Fede and then potentially another big that the Red Raiders land in the portal, I would like him as an add. Now, again, this would be as like the 10th, the 11th man on the team. But I like him. I like him for that kind of reason. You think about the struggle Texas Tech had last year in terms of when Warren Washington was hurt. RJ did a good job in, a role that he was undersized for, but still a really solid job in terms of all things considered. Ameli Elahu was up and down, and why wouldn't he be? He was a true freshman. Texas Tech lacked the depth in the front court that made an impact in terms of size and actually being fives, right, on the team. If you add a guy like Atiki Ali Atiki, well, you have a backup to Fede, right? That's 2 legit guys over 6'10", and you would think Texas Tech would go out and add yet another big potentially in the portal as well. So you like your chances there in terms of, hey, what would the front court look like potentially? Obviously, it's still very early on and potentially landing this guy, but I do like them going out and making sure that they have the depth needed in terms of potential injuries and having guys on the bench that, have played at a high level. I mean, he's played at BYU for 3 years, obviously one of those years in the Big 12. I'm not saying he's going to be a all-breaking news type guy and program-changing type dude if he was to land in the Scarlet and Black, but I do like him from that perspective of being a bench player and a solid contributor with a few minutes here and there every game to make sure that you have that depth needed for the gauntlet that is the Big 12. All right, before we get into the layest portal update for one of the high priority targets, one more reminder, please like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell if you want to stay in the know on everything Texas Tech men's basketball all year long right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube, almost 10,000 strong here. Nice round numbers are obviously nice, but sincere thank you to each and every one of you that has tuned into these videos and interacted with them. And if you want to stay in the know even further when it comes to Texas Tech men's basketball, I mean, everything at the drop of a hat, right? Like, these videos take some time to make, but over on the Scarlet and Black Insider, Austin Massey, Jacob Harris, and myself are keeping you in the know on everything Texas Tech men's basketball as soon as it happens. So go join the fastest growing group of Texas Tech fans on the internet over on the Scarlet and Black Insider. All right. Interesting update here. We got T-Dub. And it's interesting from the fact of Texas Tech wasn't in his initial top 3. They get in there. Baylor is out. And then it's Texas Tech, TCU. And then, well, we thought it was Mississippi State. Takes Mississippi State out, puts Kansas State in. And so you're like, okay, he's going to visit all 3 schools. That's what he said. But not so fast, my friend. And for those that don't know, T-Dub, Trazarien White, 6'7", 190, UNCW transfer, averaged just under 20 points per game last year, just under 7 rebounds per game, averaged about 1.5 assists per game, and shot 40% from 3 almost in terms of 39.5. He's a Mansfield, Texas native, and I think by now, if you're paying attention to Texas Tech men's basketball, probably daily, not even daily, just weekly at this point, you know that White visited Texas Tech this past weekend. He also visited TCU, but he has now reportedly canceled his scheduled visit to Kansas State. So his recruitment seemingly is down to Texas Tech and TCU. If you believe social media, in terms of, guys following guys from certain programs, this, that, and the other, White is following a lot more Texas Tech guys than he is TCU staffers, players, and all that stuff. I mean, shoot, he follows the main Texas Tech account in terms of on Instagram. And I'm not saying that should be the end-all be-all. I'm just saying it's a fun wrinkle in this because you're looking for every little data point you can find because you want a guy like this out in the 806 because he's a true difference maker, right? That's what this time of the year is about, just trying to read into the tea leaves and everything. And social media, like it or not, is a tea leaf that you have to read into in a lot of ways. But I will say this. I think it's interesting from the standpoint of what do these 2 programs offer White in terms of TCU and Texas Tech. Let's start with TCU, and you can see some of my thoughts at the bottom of the screen. I think TCU would offer him a larger role. And what do I mean by that? I think that he would be one of, if not the go-to scoring option for the TCU Horned Frogs next year. I don't think you can offer that if you're Texas Tech because you think about the guy that you have returning in D5. I mean, D5 is literally one of those dudes that's probably going to be an all Big 12 second teamer if he continues, should have been last year, and maybe has a potential chance to make the first team if everything goes right. So he's obviously your clear number 1 guy, right? That doesn't mean that you wouldn't want a guy like White on the roster, but you get what I'm saying. It also allows him to play closer to home. Mansfield, TCU, Fort Worth right there. I mean, it's like a 20-minute drive. Okay, so you would have family there if you're White, which you can't undersell that. When it comes to the bag aspect of this, I think Texas Tech and TCU would be pretty similar, right? Now, on the Texas Tech aspect of it, I think you could offer him a starting spot at the 4 spot on a team that I expect to be much better than TCU. Maybe not much, but better than TCU, okay? So there's that aspect of it when it comes to White. And then obviously the bag, as I just mentioned, is probably pretty similar at both schools. It's just, hey, where do you want to go in terms of role, maybe being closer to home, more pedigree in terms of the NCAA tournament at Texas Tech. Where do you want to go in that regard? Obviously, it'd be great if you came to Texas Tech, but that's the update right now as White's recruitment seemingly is down to Texas Tech and TCU. It'll be very interesting to monitor. And I will say this, he did say that he would make his decision on the 15th of May. So about a week from Wednesday at the time you're hearing this. So he wanted to focus on finals and everything like that, which makes sense. You can respect that. But that's kind of the update right now for Trazarien White, as it seems that his recruitment is down to 2 schools in Texas Tech and TCU. And then the latest portal contact for the Red Raiders is Atiki, Triple A, as I'm going to call him, because that is a fun nickname right there. He is a BYU forward, 6'10", 220, who averaged 4 points per game and just under 3 rebounds per game and 11 minutes per game last year for the Cougars. I'm RC Maxfield, reminding you one more time, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to stay in the know on all things Texas Tech men's basketball all year long right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube in the Back to 12 podcast channel.